Meghan Markle appeared to become emotional at Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. The solemn affair seemed to make Markle emotional, as she was photographed with a tear running down her face at the funeral. Today show host Karl couldn't resist taking a swipe at his least favorite member of the royal family in the aftermath of the Queen's funeral on Monday. He made the baseless suggestion that Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, wasn't actually crying when she was pictured wiping away tears at the sombre service. Stefanovic made clear his verdict on Meghan's public display of emotion with just one word, apparently, and it didn't go unnoticed by his co-anchor Alison Langdon. The moment occurred while Stefanovic and Langdon were speaking to royal photographer Chris Jackson outside Buckingham Palace at about 9:20 p.m. local time, or 6:20 a.m. on Tuesday in Eastern Australia. Stefanovic noted how several photos from the funeral were open to interpretation, particularly in regard to whether certain members of the royal family were crying. He implied that pictures of Meghan wiping away tears were perhaps misleading. There's been lots of photos around and interpretations of photos and reading into photos, meanings that may or may not be true, he said. There's a couple of Meghan, with a tear running down her face, apparently, and also even one of Princess Charlotte that everyone was saying she was crying, and we don't know if it was true or not. As Stefanovic cast doubt on Meghan's tearful display with the word apparently, Langdon smiled nervously then offered him a knowing look. Meghan wept as she watched Queen Elizabeth II's coffin being carried out of Westminster Abbey in London on Monday after a remarkable funeral attended by the great and good from across the world. The Duchess of Sussex, 41, dabbed her cheek during the emotional moment as she stood beside Camilla, Queen Consort, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her children Prince George and Princess Charlotte. Earlier, Meghan walked into the Abbey in a sombre procession behind the Queen's coffin. In front of her was Catherine, the two eldest Cambridge children, and Prince Edward with Sophie, Countess of Wessex. Before the service, the Duchess stood briefly beside Kate, George and Charlotte as she watched Elizabeth II's coffin being placed on the altar. She and Harry then took their seats on the second row alongside Princess Beatrice and her husband Edoardo Mopelli-Mozzi. On the front row alongside Charles and Camilla were the Princess Royal and her husband Timothy Lawrence, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward and Sophie Wessex, the Prince and Princess of Wales with George and Charlotte, Peter Phillips, and Zara and Mike Tyndall. Later, at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, Meghan and Harry were directed to their seats by the Princess of Wales as she, William and Charlotte stood aside to lead them into their stall. The Queen made her final journey from Westminster Hall to the church where she married and was crowned, as Britain mourned its longest-serving monarch and the royals said goodbye to a beloved mother, grandmother and great-grandmother. Her coffin was placed close to the altar with her crown, orb and scepter on its top surrounded by flowers chosen by King Charles III from gardens she loved. A card in the flowers on top of the coffin reads simply, "In loving and devoted memory. Charles R." The Sussexes live in California but have remained in the UK since the Queen's death on September 8. They happened to be in the country for the Well Child Awards when the news was announced. The couple are without their children Archie, 3, and Lilibet, 15 months, who are believed to have remained in California with Meghan's mother Doria Ragland. Before the service, the Duke of Sussex put aside his feud with his brother Prince William to walk alongside him behind the Queen's coffin. Harry was wearing a civilian suit rather than uniform due to no longer being a senior royal. The Today hosts are no fans of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who are divisive figures in the Commonwealth due to their very public criticism of the royal family.